So many little gadgets here. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back from the wonderful summer we all had. I hope you are well and enjoyed your summer, and also it's nice to be back in this beautiful spot. I don't know what we'd do without Harcourt. It's a lovely, bright area, and I know we're all comfortable. First of all, I want to thank Linda Yates and Ruth Slavin for doing such a great job in the newsletter every month. So thank you. And I want to thank the greeters, Valerie Allen and Dory McLean. Thank you, girls. And Wilma Churchill and Liz Britton, who have taken care of the membership badges and helping to welcome everyone. Now, I really like to thank Kathy Stevens for the goodies and her staff. I'll tell you, the coffee and tea is outstanding, but the cookies, they are wonderful. So thank you, Kathy, and we'll talk later. Okay. Ellen Bell is our new chairman of the membership committee. Ellen is been a member of PROBUS, but also she's been the chairman for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and she has been a great help. And I'd like her, Ellen, if you could come forward and introduce a member who would like to say a few words of introduction to our membership. Can you come forward? It's okay, it's not too scary. Yes, David.
So which one do I speak in? This
right
one?
Here.
This one?
Yeah.
So hi, everybody. I'm Ellen Bell, and our new... This one, correct? The one on this one.
What is it? Oh, this light's on.
This is a light here. You're going to want to speak to this one here.
Oh.
Okay. So hi, everyone. I'm Ellen Bell, and our new member who's going to introduce himself today is David McCauley. So David, where are you, and would you like to come up?
Thanks, Ellen and Dan. They told me, I guess I know what mic to use now anyway, so that's good. So I just wanted to say a few words, I guess, as introduction. I don't know what this format is particularly, but I've been in Guelph for a long time. But my hometown is Drayton, and I came down to Guelph, and so I finished high school in Arthur, and then went to University of Waterloo and took my environmental studies degree, and then followed up with a degree in architecture. And when I finished that, I wanted to move to a place that was pleasant and heritage and green and that type of thing. Ended up in Guelph and worked with Carl Bustensky and then Jack Campbell, who just lived down the street here on Dean Avenue, actually. And after I did that, I opened my own practice in 1978 and in Drayton, and then I moved to Guelph in 82 at 360 Woolwich Street and Mont Street in Exhibition Park area. And so I've been there. Most of the work that we've done is not-for-profit community buildings, facilities. So some of the buildings that you'd know in Guelph are the YMYWCA, Hospice Wellington, Humane Society, Salvation Army Church. We've done several renovations and additions on churches as well. Altogether, we've done over 500 places of worship in Ontario. That was a specialty we did, and we also did a number of long-term care facilities, child care schools, industrial and private residences, usually on the specialty of building biology or healthy buildings, and also energy efficiency. And so we did that work. So altogether, we have a lot of interest in doing more community projects. So now that I'm semi-retired, and still working on some projects. Some of the things I'm doing is volunteering for projects and continuing to do not-for-profit work. So I'm a member of a number of green organizations in town, one of which is the SCAN group, the Seniors for Co-Housing, or for Climate Action Now, and Mary is taking some interesting information up there for an event that we're having on the 1st of October. Another thing that I'm doing is interesting in terms of the co-housing, which I spoke to you about in April, but the project at Ignatius, where Habitat for Humanity is moving ahead. And we're actually promoting, we have the founder of the Seniors Co-Housing Network of Canada coming to speak on the 24th of October at Ignatius. So if you keep that in mind, anybody who's interested in co-housing, seniors co-housing particularly, it's going to be a fantastic project. So anyway, continuing with work like that, what I do enjoy doing in the off time is certainly hanging out with my wife, Cynthia, and I have 10 grandchildren, 1 great-grandchild, and we have a place up near Creemore that we hang out with and spend a lot of our downtime up there. So anyway, that's a bit of introduction, what I've done, and very happy to get to know more people here and talk more about what everybody is involved with. Thanks very much, Anne.
Thank you. Very interesting, and thank you for making the effort to come in and tell us all about your life. Well, a little bit about your life, just a couple of minutes. Anyway, Linda Yates has a friend called Carol who's here, and would Carol Erickson like to stand up? Hi, welcome. And Melanie and Frederick Ware they emailed membership from Port Dover, PROBUS, now living in Guelph. Are Melanie and Frederick here? Oh, welcome. Good for you that you joined us all the way from Port Dover. That's a lovely spot. And then Sandra McGinty is a friend of Helly Kish. Is Sandra here? Hi, Sandra. Welcome. So we've got a great turnout of new people and, of course, renewed members who brought their checks today. And so we're getting there. It's lovely to be back. And I just wanted to update you about our nominating committee. At this time of the year, that's what we're doing. We're trying to fill in the spots that are no longer going to be filled starting the middle of next month, next October. Fred Dawkins and I and the president-elect are part of the nominating committee, and Rosemary Crisp, who served as first vice president, is resigning as of October. And so on behalf of the membership and the committee, thank you, Rosemary, for giving us a help and also contributing your ideas and your loyalty. So thank you, Rosemary, and good luck. I have to turn the page. To update you as to who is going to be the new president is Jim K. Thompson, who joined in March 2015. Our club, being a mixed membership, one year we try and elect a female president, and the following year elect a male president. So Jim, is running to be president, and we will have the announcement, final announcement, next meeting in October. Just to remember, everyone, that our club is a very vibrant, friendly, outgoing association. And it's up to you and to all of us to continue having it that way. It's a volunteer club, so when you are asked, or anyone is asked, to be on the committee, you always have a gift, and that gift is to bring your talent to the club committee, and with that, we're able to grow, learn, and enjoy each other's thoughts and ideas. So if you're asked to come on the committee, you remember what to say. Yes. And if you don't say yes, you've got to answer to me, okay? And I'm tough. Okay. Good. Oh, it says here, I have enjoyed being your president. And as you may have noticed, I do make mistakes. So that makes you all look pretty good, okay? So I'm up here, I've enjoyed it, it's been a wonderful experience, and I continue to enjoy it to the last minute in October. So thank you for all your support, your suggestions, and your tolerance. I appreciate it. Now, I think that is it for me for a little while, but I'd like Kathy Stevens to, oh, yes, oh.
As well.
Oh, that's right, Anne. I apologize. See, another mistake. Now, Anne, would you please introduce your guest?
My guest is Heather Fife. Heather, could you stand? Heather and I met each other as volunteers at Hospice Wellington. Heather continues to volunteer there, although I don't. She's a lovely, caring, compassionate person. She lives in Rockwood, and I'd like you all to welcome her.
Thank you very much, Anne. As you can see, there's a microphone there, and when we have the speaker that Kathy's going to tell us about, and there are questions, do not ask from where you're sitting. Please come forward to the microphone so that it is recorded and everybody at home can hear what your question is. So, is that it now? Can you come forward, Kathy? Thank you.
Do I make the announcement about Christmas now?
Yes, oh yes. No, before, yeah.
Yeah. Hi. I know it's kind of warm out, but we're planning for Christmas. And the Christmas luncheon is December the 12th. It's at the Country Club. The menu and the price hasn't been set yet, but you will soon be hearing more information about it. We're going to try and do something a little bit different this year. And one of those things is we have, I think it's called the Baker's Dozen, from the Royal City Ambassadors coming to entertain us. So that should be fun. Bring us some Christmas music. I have the pleasure of introducing Stephen Jackson. I've known him for a few years now through AO. Welcome, Stephen. Stephen is the Indigenous CEO of the nonprofit organization Anishinaabeg Outreach, AO for short, and the founder of related companies, AO Nation a not-for-profit holding company for AO, AO Home, a for-profit reconciliation-centric consulting firm, and AO Nest, which you'll hear more about today. By developing and operationalization strategic plans for AO, he has led significant groups in funding and service delivery. He's developed relationships that enabled the completion of 2 centers of healing and a farm, and it's been incredible what he's done. He's built partnerships with some of Canada's largest companies, including the Royal Bank, Home Depot, and the Maple Leafs. Recognized as a reconciliation thought leader, Stephen has helped several organizations begin the journey to achieving reconciliation. He's a frequent guest speaker at conferences and events, an Indigenous advisor to the Toronto Blue Jays and Metroland. He's a steering group committee member of the Knights of Columbus, Waterloo, and he sits on the leadership team of a group that plans to end homelessness in Guelph, using AO process and programs along with the AO Nest. Stephen has spent much of his career helping large corporations to transform and implement global best practice talent management programs, either as the corporate leader or as an external consultant. Stephen holds a master's degree in industrial psychology from the University of Waterloo, and he's going to be really interesting this morning. Thanks for being here.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me, actually. It's a tough act to follow, to be totally honest. So, are there any therapists in the room? Anyone who used to be a therapist? There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5, a few. Not very many, but a few. Okay, great. I want to talk about a couple of things first. I want to talk about, well, reconciliation. As you're aware, this is National Truth and Reconciliation Day coming up on September 30th, Orange Shirt Day. And it's always something, as an Indigenous person, also as an Indigenous leader, our organizations really put together processes and programs to help Indigenous people across Canada. And you are probably all familiar with the concept or the term intergenerational trauma. And intergenerational trauma actually just manifests. It's trauma that happened, gets passed down through families. It is, in essence, it's just a mental health challenge. And if you overcome trauma, you can actually have a life ahead of you. I mean, that's the long and the short of it. A couple of years ago, I read an article. It was actually out of Israel, so it's halfway around the world. It was a validation study. It was a very small group of people, and it basically said that if you give people essential life skills or make them available to them, and you also give them intensive mental health therapy, they were using a psychiatrist, a very small group, you can heal them out of anything and into anything. And that has implications if that's in fact true. And so we started doing some more research, and along the way, or fairly early on, we discovered that 50%, actually it's more than 50%, of people incarcerated today used to be in care. Now that's kind of an alarming stat. We also know that for Indigenous people, 50% of women in prison today are also they're Indigenous, right? 30% of men. Again, horrifying stat. But if 50% of the people that are incarcerated used to be in care. If we just help the kids in care, perhaps we could stop the incarcerations, give them a different path to go down. So what we ended up doing was talking to all the other executive directors of all the shelter system, including kids in care, of course. It turns out that while they don't have the actual stat, anecdotally, they think somewhere between 30 and 70% of their populations, their client groups, also used to be in care. What that really means is what everyone already knows anyway. There's doors and windows into the shelter system, but there's no like off-ramp to get you out of it. Once you're in, you're pretty much in for life, and so are your kids, and so are your kids' kids. I talked to, the food bank. They support 3 generations of families as a general rule. And to me, that's not a great place to be. I mean, for anyone, right? I mean, when I think about, that shelter system, the back end of it is either addictions, homelessness, or incarceration. And I'm not sure which of those 3 is the worst thing. But it's also all preventable because there literally is a process that puts people into it, doesn't let anyone out, and it makes sense. Basically, if you're traumatized, and I guarantee you're traumatized if you're taken away from your family or what occurred in the first family or later on or when you're abandoned at the end, but somewhere along that pathway in care, you're traumatized. Generally speaking, people try to self-medicate, so drugs, right? That leads to an addiction. Once you're addicted, chances are you'll become homeless sometime thereafter. And once you're homeless, hopefully there's no police in the room, but if they are, they know my sentiment on this. I used to be head of HR for Edmonton Police. Generally speaking, police say they don't pick on homeless people, but in reality they do. And that gets them incarcerated, gets them off the street, et cetera, right? But doesn't solve the problem. If we just gave those people mental health, that would solve everything. It would end homelessness, addictions, incarceration. You could use it to solve intimate partner violence, which is an epidemic pretty much everywhere. And I think that's the premise of what I want to talk about today. And we're going to do more than just talk about it. I'm going to show you the software system that we built. I'm going to talk about the partnerships that we've made to, as Kathy suggested, the goal is to end homelessness in Guelph. I mean, I'm not trying to end homelessness in Guelph, actually. I'd like to end homelessness across Canada. Guelph is just the pilot for the rest of Canada. It's a great little city, it's close to us, it works. We have a lot of support here. A little bit about AO before I get too far along. So we have 2 centers of healing, one in Kitchener was the first one. It was a church that we converted. The second one is actually in partnership with Trinity United Church. They give us space, we share programs, and they support us, and we help the community with an employment agency, but soon to be a mental health organization to help the community also. Our goal, and it's really simple, I'll show it to you in a bit, our model, we just partner with people like Family and Children's Services, an organization in North York which is called YSSN. They are all of York Region. They also manage all the distress and crisis lines for York Region and for City of Toronto. A couple days ago I spoke with Wellington County's Ontario Works Department. Those are for people that are struggling to get back to work. And it's all mental health, right? If we give them the tool, and that's what we plan to do, is give these agencies the tool. And one of my other partnerships is actually with the food bank. I met with Kim, Waterloo Region 1, a couple of weeks back, with the idea that if we give our tool to them, they can give it out to all the other agencies they support. I read yesterday in an article that last year, food banks across Ontario supported more than 1 million people. And I can't tell you, that's not right. And I know that they're struggling to have food, But in reality, what they're really struggling with is mental health. Because if they had the mental health, the rest would just flow, because there is employment availability everywhere. Like if I talk to the restaurant industry or the construction industry, the hotel industry, the insurance industry, or any industry I talk to, they want employees. So what we've actually created, thanks to actually yourselves as baby boomers, baby boomer retirement created the opportunity to take people out of the shelter system and into employment instead. And really, that's what we're attempting to do, or what we hope to do, mostly through partnership. Unfortunately, I don't have my laptop in front of me. It's being run back there today, so I won't be able to give you everything that we have on my system. I'll only give you things that are on the sort of public system. What you have in front of you, I'm just going to kind of go through a bit of it for a few minutes, and then I'll leave time at the end for conversation, and an offer for all yourselves too, actually. So if you go to, if you want to just see what we built, go to aonest.com. So it's Anishinaabe Outreach AO, and then nest.com. That's the website. That's what's on the screen currently. And then what we do is we just go to the login button, we log in, and here we are. And soonish, the system will magically appear. Oh, here we are. And if we can go back to the actual, the main page, not the, yeah, perfect. Just go to the center one. No, go to the center. The courses, yes. There, courses, yes. That's where I'd like to be. Just click that. Okay, perfect. Oh well. If we had elevator music, we'd go do, 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 like one of those game show things. Oh, here we are. No, not quite yet. Okay. All right, so what we did, and when you think, oh my God, can you scroll up a little bit for us, please? Yeah, that way, perfect. Just to where it says, yeah, those three would be great. What we've created is portals. There's a portal for mental health. There's a portal for core relationship skills. There's a portal for essential life skills. That was a validation study. The mental health was validation too. But if we scroll down a little bit further, you'll see reconciliation. We train companies. Yesterday, I met with the Perimeter Institute. They're looking at both using our software system, the mental health thing, for their staff members, a bunch of PhDs, world-renowned ones, actually. I'm not sure if you know who Perimeter is. The other thing they're looking for is reconciliation training, so we'll do that with them also. If we go a little bit further, we'll get into, sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Normally I just read it. Sorry. Indigenous culture, language, and a museum of artifacts. Those are actually the social determinants of health for Indigenous people. And if you combine mental health with the cultural pieces or the cultural aspects, things that were taken away, we have the ability to make them whole. And if we make them whole, they'll be employable. So in other words, we can help people on reserves. We can help urban Indigenous that are currently struggling or incarcerated or homeless or addicted, right? A little bit further on, it says early years, but really that's education. So it starts with 0 to 6-year-old, then it goes into tutoring, mentoring, things like that as we add more on. We have employment. What you don't see, though, is we have a full solution for intimate partner violence. We partner with everybody. One of our partnerships was with a consortium of 12 French-speaking intimate partner violence organizations in Ontario. They had a bunch of clinical psychologists that built a train-the-trainer program. So in other words, how to teach people how to support, how to become a therapist for intimate partner violence. That's not our model. Our model, they shared their content with us. It was about 100 courses. What we did was we took that, broke it down, made it more understandable for the individual, because our process is we teach people how to heal themselves without needing a therapist. And to do that, we just provide education on whatever the topic is, and then we created a process and a bunch of worksheets that guide you through that process. So by the time you finish all the worksheets, you've got your solution, or you can find your solution amongst the worksheets. This is the best way of describing it. You create mind maps for yourself. for things. And then the other thing that's not up there is we're building a whole component for relationships. Because if you think about intimate partner violence or gender-based violence, it all starts in a relationship. And then finally, we're putting, and hopefully you'll like this part, supports for seniors, moving from retirement into really palliative care at the very end, right? And helping families, and our model isn't for the person, it's actually for the whole family unit. Because we believe, it's Indigenous, there's a lot of Indigenous thinking in here too, we believe that your weakest link is whoever's struggling, and the other people have to help that person and support that person to achieve whatever outcome they're trying to achieve. So some of our tools are built as tools to support someone, and some of them are for the person themselves. So it's both sets in there. And sometimes it's for the children too, right? What you'll find when we go through this, and can we just scroll to the top now? Thanks. What you'll find as we scroll through these things, and I'm going to demo one so you can see what they look like and see how they look and feel. If we can go to emotional intelligence, the first, yeah, that one, and go down to the first one, yes? Just click on that thing. Yeah. There we go. And if we can make that video big, yeah, just click on the bottom right of it, it'll get big. There you go.
Emotional intelligence. Benefits to understanding your emotions. Disclaimer, this is not a crisis resource.
And maybe just fast forward a bit.
If you or someone you know are having thoughts of harm, 66868.
Yeah, and keep the sound on if you don't mind.
Time. In a world that just seems to be going faster and faster, many of others influence your behavior. If you have high emotional intelligence, it means this has a 58% influence on job performance, 90% of day-to-day life. Every day, each of us deals with a large variety of emotions. These emotions will come and go. By not understanding what your emotions are, why you have them, and what happens in different situations, feel sad or mad, just like it's okay to feel happy. We need to help them learn how to talk about how emotions affect your work life. We've all come to work in a bad mood at one point or another. Maybe you feel stressed, sad, or frustrated to take your first steps to understanding triggers and communicating your boundaries. This will allow you to live a mentally healthy.
Awesome. And if you can just go to the worksheets, that's the first tab right there, yes? Oh no, go to the, go back, just go back, my mistake. Go back one more time. Just go back, yes. And now go to the second one, yes, emotions. So what we've done, yeah, just click on that. You'll notice on the left there's courses, and down below there's worksheets. And if we click on the worksheet tab here, what you'll find, and go to the one that says Understanding Your Emotions, I think it's near the bottom. Is that it? Yes, perfect. And just pull that up and make it big, that would be good. What you'll see is, according to psychologists, they've identified about 130 emotions that we experience. Some of them overlap a bit, so there's a bit of, hard to say if they're all distinct, but 130 of them. What we've done in the videos is, and they're all listed there, it's like happy, sad, angry, those types of things. And everyone goes, you know, what's wrong with being too happy? Well, the medical profession says it's called mania. They lock you up and they give you pills until you're less happy. So don't ever get too happy. Just get happy enough. Too much fear is just called anxiety. Too much sadness is called grief or depression. Too much surprise is actually called shock, and it kills you. But then you don't have to worry about the other emotions. So what we've done is we've created a process that helps people with emotional intelligence and emotional resilience. Makes you a better person, a better partner, a better parent, better grandparent, those types of things, right? Just because you have an understanding of what the other person needs more. It's a better way to connect. Great for business too, either customer service or for leaders of business, right? This is also a process, so I did talk about partnerships. One of my partnerships is actually IBM. IBM is actually turning this whole thing right here, the emotional intelligence piece of it, into a mobile phone app that makes it accessible to everyone. Emotional resilience is the first step in solving your emotional, well, your, basically, mental health challenges are usually when your emotions are overwhelming. So if you think about, any of you been through grief? Probably quite a few people have. You were overwhelmed in the grief process for a while, and eventually you learned how to manage it. With emotional intelligence, it just helps you solve all of that quicker and more easily. You understand what's going on. Okay? We're just going to go back. We'll just back out a bit. Keep going back to, okay, perfect. What we also have is, sorry, I have to go down to spirit building, the very bottom, and just click on, yeah, that one, spirit building, introduction. There we go. And just scroll down a little bit. Yeah, thanks, just want to see them. And what you'll see here is, like where it says intrinsic and extrinsic motivation at the very top, these are the courses, so I'll just go over here because I have my mouse. Over here, these are the courses, yeah, right there, that relate to those worksheets. So if we scroll down to another worksheet, a different set of courses will pop up. It all interacts. Basically, if you do that, spirit building, because if your spirit is really strong, you can overcome anything, right? So that's the first thing we help people with, that and emotional resilience. The next piece that we help people with, if we just go back a bit, thank you. If you can scroll down to where it says relationships under core skills, this is also kind of an introduction to the core skill of relationships, right? And did you click on that one? Yeah, thanks. And yeah, thank you. And what you'll see here is boundaries, communication, digital communication, conflict resolution, intrusive thoughts, problem solving, regrets. Regrets are just decisions that you regret, either because you didn't, it didn't benefit you or it harmed you. Self-confidence, stress management, and trust. If we give this to everyone in the shelter system, this is why they're in the shelter system. They don't have this skill set. And if we go back up to communications for a second, and we scroll down a little bit, you'll see what I'm talking about here. It's like aggressive argumentation communication style. It's learning the various communication styles, dealing with heightened emotions. Like if they just have this skill set right here, imagine what that would do for them in terms of conflicts and things they're dealing with on that side of it, right? We'll go back. We also have a full solution for bullying, a full solution for boundaries. I'm going to go up to the top again and just click on ADHD. You all seem quite chill, so chances are you don't have ADHD. You're not like bouncing around. The people at home probably are. That's why they're at home as opposed to here. No disrespect to people from the home. What we have here is, it's a full solution. So we just teach you everything there is to know about it, how to solve it, how to manage it, and then what we do is give you worksheets to work it out for you. If you go into the worksheet tab, you can see all of them together, just the top worksheet tab right there. There's all the worksheets. You can scroll down there a little bit, you'll see the rest of them. And then we'll do the same thing for, yeah, thank you for, just stay there for a second, just scroll to the top of that. They all have the same look and feel, right? The very top of them is usually information that replicates what we had in the PowerPoint or the video, and then we have the exercise itself thereafter. If you go into the, just go back to anxiety, I'd like to look at next. Thanks. And again, this is a full solution for anyone's experiencing anxieties. Collectively, if you look at sort of all of those courses combined, that's how we deal with trauma. Turns out, trauma is the one thing you can't fix because it already happened. Trauma always happens in the past. Now, it might happen in the future too, but any trauma that you've experienced happened in the past. So we can't change something that's already occurred, so all we can do is help people process that, get the boundaries, the relationship skills to prevent it from happening again, but also deal with the emotional side, the grief, maybe the anger side of it, so that they can resolve that and move forward. We need to get people to move forward into, well, we need to free them, right? From their demons, I guess is the best way of describing it. Any questions on the system? I should probably tell you how it was created. Sorry, let me hold that question for you for a bit. So what we did, we hired a bunch of people that have master's degrees in something or other, usually clinical psychology or therapy or social work or justice or something like that. They're the ones that did all the research, put all these things together for us. From there, we tested it on people that had those challenges to make sure the thing would work. From there, it went over to Compass. I'm not sure if you know who Compass is. It's a mental health agency located in Guelph. They do the clinical review on everything, except for the things that were donated by a therapy practice. So the grief that we have, that was a full grief solution. It'll be about 150 courses. Right now, it's only about 15. It's being slowly built by a therapist whose main practice is grief, and because that's her main job, this is kind of on the side of it. What we get is slowly being added to, right? From there, like the other one would be that consortium of intimate partner violence organizations. They're going to do the clinical review for that content for us to make sure it's accurate and serves its purpose. At the end of the day, though, right now we're partnering with agencies and organizations for each one of those agencies and organizations that we partner with. And it's things like schools, like Family and Children's Services, it'll probably be Ontario Works, those types of places, and organizations. What we're looking at doing is providing our tool set to agencies in a community like Guelph. We have to get funding for it first, and once we're able to do that, what we can do is actually help end homelessness for Guelph. All we have to do is heal people, and we have to support people too. So that's also an offer for you at the end of this. Act as mentors, act as tutors, engage your churches, and have them act as tutors and mentors also for the community members as we're helping people heal out of homelessness and into employment. They might need someone to act as a guide, as an advisor until they're fully self-sustaining, right? All right. So now I can take any questions about the system. And I'm going to talk about my partnership with Trinity afterwards.
This institution as somewhere where you could do mentoring, computer workshops, and also basic skills, carpentry, welding, etc. Have you folks investigated, I'm talking about College Heights High School, have you investigated that at all?
No, I haven't. This is the first time I'm hearing of it. I might be interested in that, so if you want to send me an email or some connections, I would actually like to have that conversation, because I believe that would be an excellent place to help people in sort of a classroom. I mean, I know it sounds weird, but it's a classroom type setting. It doesn't have to be classrooms or desks. It used to be places where you learn and work with things like this on the screen, where someone might be there to support.
Yeah, education is always the key. I think their plan is long-term, they're going to close it down, but I don't know what they plan to do after it. So then, of course, you've got the city and the province working on that as well. But I'll try and get a contact for you, and you can speak to them about it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sorry, go ahead.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to say that it's a great project. It's common sense, and I can't understand why somebody did this before.
I know,
All
right?
The first thing is, does the person have to buy this or pay for it, or how do
Yes.
So there is a cost?
Well, sort of yes and sort of no. We're giving it to, well, let me do another number for you. If we add all the people that are on reserves, in care, homeless, incarcerated, addicted, intimate partner violence, we're more than 10 million people right now in Canada that are never getting out of the shelter system. I mean, there's 1 million people using the food bank, and they're kind of one step away from something more dire than what they're currently dealing with, right? For those people, I'm actually either going to do it through donations, or I'm going to do it through government. So we're working with governments, like Ontario Health, for instance. We're working with a number of governments to put that in their hands. One of the things that we plan to do, and I'll make this offer to all of you. I don't know if any of you or any of your connections, I'm not sure how big PROBUS is, but however big it is doesn't matter to me. If any of you personally want mental health through this solution, for you, your family, or whoever you want to donate it to, by all means, we'll work that out for you. I can work with Kathy, I guess. We'll get you a flyer, and you can just put that flyer somewhere, and you can send it out to wherever you want to send it out. What we'll do for that is, our model is every time we sell a license to someone, it's for a year, and it's about $150 is what the price is. It might be 100, it might be 200, depending, but it's about 150 on average. 200 is for the family, for a whole family, and the 100 is for an individual. So we average out around 150. What we do is we donate one out either to Indigenous people, or we donate it out to Family and Children's Services, or whoever we're supporting for free. Did I answer? Sorry, I'm not sure if you were done yet.
Yep, that's good. That's answered that question. So I'm just new to Guelph, and I just joined Lions Club in Guelph.
Oh, yes.
And we had a speaker just last week from Quebec Street, that church that does all this homeless, and they were looking for donations, money to serve the food. And the one thing I did ask is, which is great because you have to support that part, but I says, how do these people get out of it? Because all they're going to do is it just keeps on going, just nothing different like the food bank. You said it, just right. Generation to generation. So she said, well, we're not doing anything. That's somebody else's job. I think that was her answer. And I said, well, we need something to end this. And so I think what you have developed is, first of all, it's awesome. It sounds simple, and it's really what's needed to be done. So I want to thank you on that part.
Okay, and I appreciate those thoughts. The reason probably no one, maybe they didn't think about it or whatever the case is, it took me 2 years to get here. There's, I think, 50,000 pages of content that we've developed. Only 5% of it's online right now. The rest of it's been developed, but we don't have the funding to actually get it online. That's part of the challenge with this. It'll slowly get there over the next year or so. We'll get the rest of everything that we built online that will help seniors and all the rest, right? That's part of it. It's just a massive undertaking is the best way of describing it. And I'm supported by people like IBM or TELUS or RBC. They donate staff to us. Manulife donates staff to us. I was on a call yesterday with a tech company in Waterloo region who develops healthcare software for governments, mostly US, but also a bit of Canada. There's apparently more money in the US for these types of things, so they work there predominantly. But they are going to help us with stress testing and a few other things with our system. So generally people help us. Yeah.
I very much appreciate what you hope to accomplish and what you've done so far. I have some concerns on how effectively it might work with the homeless. I volunteered at Hope House for 6 months. It wasn't because I had any grandiose goals for myself. I just really wanted to understand what the homeless situation was like. And I served coffee for 6 months and what I found generally was a lot of people who were very polite and very appreciative of things that I was doing. But when I would come home and talk to my wife, my biggest concern is they're stuck in a rut and I don't see how they ever get out of it. I think your plan is great, I just question, how do you, it seems to rely a lot on self-motivation to really carry it through. And how successful have you been to date? And how do you feel you're going to be able to get those homeless people to embrace this and really carry it through?
Okay, great question, and thank you. There's a few elements to that. Once you hit homelessness, you have just a multitude of barriers, which includes addictions, which includes traumas, head injuries, intimate partner violence, you name it. You've got a lot of challenges ahead of you by the time you hit homelessness. Again, without a doubt. Our model is actually designed as a partnership, not with us, but rather it's a partnership with whatever agency the person is connected to. So every person that's in homelessness or addictions or anyone that's in the shelter system, they're all connected to an agency somewhere, whether it's the food bank or wherever else it happens to be. They're connected somewhere. And our goal is to give the tool to those agencies so they in turn can give it out to the people that they support, that they have the relationship with, because they're going to have to, first off, show how to use the system, because we don't have resources for that. And secondly, they're going to have to be the cheerleaders, and they're also going to have to problem solve, because we think this was designed as fully self-directed. However, it's also at a grade 4 reading level, more or less. However, and it's read to you, so that should deal with the language issue. However, we think people are going to get stuck somewhere. And to me, that's where an organization like this or a church could act as mentors or guides once we start partnering with those agencies in a city like Guelph, because I don't think we're going to end homelessness. Yeah, this tool will get people out of it, absolutely. But it's always the same anywhere. It's early adopters versus late adopters versus I don't want that at all. So early adopters will get into it because they're near the front end of it, but late adopters might not get out ever. And that's okay, because if you follow that pipeline I talked about that goes from kids in care, if we just help youth, like under the age of 25, because it turns out 2/3 of all mental health cases or challenges or crises, whatever word you wish to use, emerge by the time someone is 25. And by the time someone is 40, 1 in 2 people in Canada have experienced it. And half of the people under the age of 18 also experience it. Those are the numbers. So if we just help youth and help them so they don't have a mental health challenge, they'll never make it to the back end of the system. That's what we're actually trying to do. And it will help the other people in those shelters with those people to get out of the system too, as much as possible. Okay, any other questions? Oh, sorry, here we go.
First of all, thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. My question is tied with implementation, and I guess I have a question for you. Have you heard of or worked with an organization called Home for Heroes?
Hope for Heroes?
Yes.
No, I haven't. So they're with they're veterans, I take it?
Yes. Let me just say this. You presented a really interesting theoretical model. Home for Heroes was set up, first of all, in 2017 in Calgary. The idea behind it was that there were approximately 10,000 Canadian veterans who were A, homeless, and B, many of them were suffering PTSD. And what they have attempted to implement is now in place in Calgary, Edmonton, Kingston, and soon will be in place in Winnipeg, with the objective of every Canadian city sometime in the next 10 years. I think I would just like to draw to your attention that this is an extremely interesting organization that is trying to implement a lot of what you have talked about in a theoretical way. And I would also draw it to the attention of everyone in the building today if they don't know about it, I personally consider it to be a remarkable organization. I come at this, my own personal background was as a secondary school teacher. I also have had some experience in the armed forces, and so I'll just leave that with you. If you don't know about it, I hope that you might have a look at it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. If you have a connection for me, just email it to me. So Stephen with a PHEN at aocan.org, just send me an email. That would work for any of you if you want to connect with me, either to an agency that you're volunteering at who needs this tool set. And the reality is, I wasn't aware of them. I had actually worked with other organizations like that in Australia, the US, and in Canada, but not that particular one. Yeah, there's a huge need for veterans, but there's also, I mean, it's also for police, fire, ambulance, those organizations. And I would even group in healthcare as part of that too, that had that same PTSD reactionary piece of it.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'll take a look at that. And I wasn't trying to be rude on my phone. I was actually just sending a text to one of my directors of strategy who's going to go research that for me now so that we can get started on that. Sorry, go ahead. Oh, am I finished? I'm not quite done yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. It's all, no, if you need to get rid of me, go ahead. I don't mind. I'll just spend a couple more minutes. I want to talk about my partnership with Trinity United Church, though. It started about 2 years ago. They offered us, they were very generous with us with space, things. I'm not sure where it is in relation to here, but it's a church in town in Stevenson. And the partnership really started as, well, we have a food bank there now, we have an employment agency, we did some of our mental health work there this summer. We will look at, we run tutoring programs, mentoring programs, again, for Indigenous youth. We're going to be running our mental health management system out of there, unless, of course, we get that high school, which sounds ideal too, to be honest with you. But what we'll do is the partnership with Trinity, and I hope to engage all the churches in Guelph, because, and yourselves too, because at the end of the day, people that have recently retired probably want something to keep doing on a voluntary basis, to keep engaged, and also to share their wisdom and knowledge with that next generation. And I can't think of a better thing to do than helping people not become homeless anymore, or proactively preventing it. The addictions, all the rest of the things, right? Pregnant teens, that kind of stuff. It's all preventable. All we have to do is give them mental health and keep them on the path of doing it. And then eventually we have to give them work, because you can't let people sit idly. Unfortunately, you have to give them something to do, otherwise they do things that aren't necessarily good for them. Okay, now I'm done. Sorry. I hope I did enough justice to Trinity. I absolutely love our partnership relationship, and what I anticipate is that we will be able to use that as our space. It's actually just a model for all the rest of Canada. We're going to partner with churches across Canada to create these centers of healing everywhere so that we can help everyone with homelessness, addictions, incarcerations, all those other things. Thank you. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
So, Stephen, thanks so much for joining us at our meeting this morning. It's good to learn about the purpose and the goals of Anishinaabe Outreach and the work you're doing here in Guelph. That ending homelessness in Guelph, wouldn't that be just amazing? Wonderful. And I appreciate the successes that you're doing, but this is a long journey for all Canadians with a lot more learning to do. But Stephen, I have something here for you.
Thank you so much.
For you, and again, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Oh, good. Oh, perfect. Thank you.
That was a wonderful presentation and food for thought. If we're ever bored, we know where we can go and what we can do. But anyway, I think that's about it, folks, for this meeting. And I look forward to seeing you next month, the 12th of October. And in the meantime, take care of each other, enjoy each other, and enjoy the day. And thank you very much. And safe home.